Hello YouTube, this is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing One Piece manga chapter 1093, Luffy vs. Kizaru. I'm Akainu Fanboy, the other guy's Geboss. Please like and subscribe if you have not, and leave your comment below on what you think about this chapter of One Piece. And so, spoiler warning, and then also toxicity warning, because I have a lot to say on some certain slander that's been going on about the community with the admirals. But anyways, so we have Mr. Kizaru getting thrown by Luffy here, and so we did kind of see Kizaru looked concerned in the last chapter, the last panel, or at least like surprised and everything. And Luffy sends him flying, and I know it's a little bit down a little ways, but he's kind of back to his old trolly self right after, so it's kind of interesting to see him go back into that mode.
Yeah, he's he's not even really fazed by this at all.
Which is kind of crazy because we just, watched the Kaido fight end, in the anime. And it's interesting to compare Kaido's reaction to Luffy's Gear 5 to Kizaru's.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely Kaido, I think, was taken back a bit more. But maybe that's because, Kizaru had already seen Luffy's, wanted poster, so he knew kind of what the form was about. Because probably the elders told him about potentially, okay, you can expect this. But it could also just be he doesn't even care.
Which is crazy a little bit. I mean, for me, even though an Admiral Stan, I wasn't expecting him to still be casual after this whole thing. I thought he'd be a little off guard, more serious, but he's just kind of back to the same self again.
Yeah. Last week he was dealing with Snake Man just fine, and even Gear 5 isn't even rattling him.
Which I wouldn't have predicted that. I think last week, if you listen, I was more like he's gonna get some really good hits in on him next chapter. Luffy's gonna get some good hits on Kizaru. I guess before we get into that more, what were your thoughts on Atlas's comments in regard to the pacifista objectives and things like that?
So, I think this is setting up for what's going to happen later, because she's going down to take the pacifistas back over from Kizaru, who had who ordered them to take out the sea beasts. But once again, at the very end of the chapter, we see her doing that, but then we get a shot of Saturn, who's the only one above the Vegapunks in terms of the command of the pacifistas. So I think I've mentioned this in our previous reviews that eventually I think all the pacifistas are going to fall under his command. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good expectation, because it was interesting when Atlas said something to the effect of whoever controls the pacifista will win this fight.
Yeah.
You know where I've stood on this position, on who would win. I don't think it would be an invisible defeat, but I think the Straw Hats are going to gain access again, and pacifistas are going to turn on the Marines, but they are definitely not, none of them know Saturn's here.
Exactly. I mean, they even say, I think it's Edison who says, and no one on the island has higher command authority than us Vegapunks. So it's just setting it up. And
so if Atlas's words are true, again, it puts stuff in a pickle. I'll say that much for sure. And I think last chapter, again, how it ended, Kizaru looked concerned. So we had the expectation of, the Straw Hats got this, right? A lot of people were saying that Gear 5 Luffy's going to destroy Kizaru. It's just going to be a massacre, right?
No diff.
So Yeah, no depth at Jipper. So, and I think when it comes to this whole thing of like, we had all the enthusiasm, like, yeah, you know, the Straw Hats are definitely gonna win, and all the theories about like this is gonna be Sabaody but turned upside down is gonna be correct. But now we're kind of going to the other direction immediately. So, at the very least, Oda's purposely trolling us, going back and forth into thinking who's gonna win this.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good that when there's like a back and forth, like we don't know what to predict, because I feel like with Wano, we kind of knew, like, okay, Kaido's gonna get defeated. It's just how he was gonna get defeated. Whereas this, we don't really know what's gonna happen.
Totally. We just know that something big is at the end, and for me, it could be either way, something big happening, you know. But I think there are some clues that a defeat may be imminent. But kind of going down to that theme, we see Sentomaru pretty messed up, and we see Bonnie pretty messed up too. So I guess what I kind of find interesting, we're seeing like little hints here and there that the alliance is slowly weakening, you know. And in terms of the Marines, we haven't seen them suffer any significant setback.
Yeah.
No. So I don't know. What were your thoughts about the Bonnie Sentomaru interaction?
I thought it was interesting that like Sentomaru got back up. Because I think it's just an interesting thing how Bonnie plays into this. If like potentially she was there when Kuma was having all the stuff done to with turning him into a pacifista, because yeah, there's an interesting relationship with Vegapunk, Kuma, Sentomaru, and Kizaru there because of that. And we potentially have Kuma coming this way to Egghead. But on that topic, I was looking at some other videos about people talking about this, and I forget who said it, but there was the theory that like Kuma's powers can't send you anywhere in the world. It has to be like you physically have to travel there. And the red line is so big that he had to physically climb it and then teleport to Egghead that way.
That's interesting, huh?
Yeah. So that's why he was at there. But yeah, the I think Bonnie being down here presents a problem because Vegapunk himself is going to rescue her with Atlas and Sanji and Frankie.
Yeah. But one note I do want to say with Sentomaru, I think he's really showing how cool of a character he is, and how strong-willed. He's a pretty heroic, good guy too. At the end of the day, and I will say he was also one of the few Marines to give respect for Luffy.
Yeah.
After the time skip, and he said, "You're not Sabaody." I mean, sorry, yeah, you're not Straw Hat Luffy. You're just you're a complete fake, you know. You know, so when it was the imposters that mimicked Straw Hats and everything. So I don't know, just Oda's showing a lot of respect to his character.
Yeah.
And then so now talking about respect for characters, Lucci v Zoro.
Yeah. I was curious. Yeah. So, I'm not the biggest fan of Lucci, but he's definitely grown into a more interesting character this arc. But I don't know if it lowers his stock to have him team up or paired off against Zoro of all people. I get Zoro is like the second strongest. But it's like, Luffy doesn't even need to deal with him. Zoro can take care of it.
Yeah, which puts like a Lucci at first commander level, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like Lucci's like, but Lucci seems pretty confident in himself. He's like, oh, I suppose the head of an Emperor's number 2 is still a decent consolation prize. Yeah. So, yeah, it was interesting. And it looks like Zoro's using like his King of Hell stuff on his swords.
Yeah, so he's putting in a good bit of effort right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're both like visibly like tired and panting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, again, kind of going through the overall plot right here, Zoro's occupied, Sanji's going on a mission, and maybe Jinbei is going to be going too. Frankie's kind of occupied, Robin's injured. I'm trying to think what the weakling trio. Oh, yeah, Brooke and Usopp are kind of occupied too. And we still kind of have the smoking gun of the Seraphims to deal with as well. So
yeah.
Look at how occupied the Straw Hats are right now. And the Seraphim aren't even going to be in play. And the whole reason they brought Saturn was to get control of the Seraphim.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not looking great when you kind of look at it in the huge context here. Especially, like, okay, just a good segue here. I just want to emphasize, people said Kizaru was going to get curb stomped. Some were saying this is going to be like Blueno versus Luffy. Some people said that this was, he was just going to rip Kizaru to pieces in Gear 5. This is his strongest form. And people have had such a low opinion of the Admirals all these years that I think is clouding their theory making with that bias, that power scaling bias. And then it's like, no, Kizaru is actually doing pretty well right now. You know? Like, you just fly into the ocean, and then he pops back up, and then Luffy's kind of taking it back, and then all these clones pop up. Like, we just see a completely new move. And for some reason, people were under the impression that the Admirals were going all out at Marineford for some reason, you know? And that that's clearly not the case because we see a completely brand new move.
I mean, I would say the only one who was kind of going all out would be Akainu. Because he was up against Whitebeard. But he was also like fighting all of Whitebeard's crew and Crocodile. So yeah, he's pretty strong.
And I will say one quick thing with Akainu, but the Marines had to be conscious not to destroy Marineford that much too, so they couldn't activate their awakening, if you will, because it would destroy all Marineford when you think about it, Yeah. So there's that aspect of it too.
So I was reading this and I was thinking, like, he creates all these clones, and I'm wondering if this has something to do with a potential awakening for his powers. Just because we've never really seen anything like this, like creating clones out of light and everything. But maybe it's just an extension of his powers, because light deals with vision and everything, so he could be like doing that. We've just never seen like a Logia creating clones of themselves.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I thought the whole visual part of it was cool.
Oh, I like it a lot too.
I forget exactly what it is. Like the spiral thing reminded me of something. But yeah, it looks really cool. And like Kizaru's not even taking like Luffy seriously, because he sends out all these clones and he teleports right back to where Usopp and everyone was.
But you even see Luffy running at one point. I know there's a little bit of trolling, like, oh yeah, gotcha, and then he did the hit. But Luffy honestly thinks that he got him right here and is like, well, no. And then also Luffy gets hurt by the sword as well. So one, in terms of just the visuals, I do like this fight better than Kaido versus Luffy already. Me personally, I just kind of like Kizaru's powers, and I think it's a lot more unique interaction with Luffy, Yeah, because I don't know, it's just forcing Luffy to think more, While with Kaido, it was just kind of like a brute fest in a way,
Yeah, they were just throwing everything at him.
And I guess like what is interesting is just Luffy never got a solid hit on Kizaru, and Kizaru's not even focused on him. He's still just focused on the mission.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking as reading, like, oh, he's gonna get a hit in because Kizaru is just not paying attention to him, right? And then it's like, no, it never happened, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, we even see like Luffy getting, he swallows Kizaru's laser, and he's like dispersing it, because of his powers. But yeah, it's really interesting, that like it doesn't even seem like Kizaru's trying even against Gear 5.
Yeah, he's already down there, and he has Usopp incapacitated, and Nami and Brook are trying to stop him. And it's just, I think like it freaks Luffy out because he's just having a flashback of Sabaody right away, you know? And so there, I mean, I know we could kind of lose that a little bit with the Gear 5 goofiness and everything, you know? But I'm sure, like, you know, that's a characterization there that's happening, and Vegapunk's like trying to, you know, take off already. And Kizaru's just like, and then he just pops back up, gets into a good angle, and like, okay, I'm gonna blow that up, you know? It's just nuts. And that, I don't know, he's just crazy powerful, man. And that Luffy just takes the hit, you know, defending them and everything, you know? So, I will say this panel here, I don't know, I know you've been an extreme moderate here in this position, but this panel's inclining me more into thinking there's not going to be a clear victor in this fight, or this whole chapter as a whole, because we're getting more progress of Vegapunk getting off the island, you know? And the whole chapter, I was kind of assuming was just going to be a fight, and if that happened, I'd be like, okay, maybe there would have been more of a chance of us seeing a clear victor, but we didn't get that. And I think this chapter can suggest that Kizaru is around the level of Kaido, and I don't think a fight like that is going to be over super quick. And I'm not going to say the arc's going to be over super quick, but it's going to be over soon.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how long we have left for this arc, but I mean, like you said earlier about the Seraphim and everything, it seems that there's a lot more pointing to the side of the Straw Hats losing, because you got the Seraphim, you've got Kizaru, who's not even like, I think before when we were talking about this, we kind of presumed that Kizaru would get like some damage on him. He's not even like damaged so far. He just kind of got yeeted, and that's about it. But yeah, the Seraphim, the Pacifistas, which are probably going to be under Saturn's control, both of those, Kizaru, and all the Marines. Yeah, the only thing that can throw a wrench in this would have been what we saw the last chapter, the giant. I think it was called the Iron Giant. Yeah.
Or Kuma.
But yeah, and Kuma too. But I was rereading some stuff about the Iron Giant because it'd been a while since they mentioned it, and like that thing was bigger than Marijoa, so yeah, that's definitely one thing in the Straw Hats' favor.
So I think those I could see them as a favor to help them escape, but not a good enough favor to help them defeat Saturn, Kizaru, and the whole Navy, and the Pacifistas, and Lucci, and the Seraphim, and potentially Kaku. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's pretty much
a lot going on there. And I just say it like, okay, I know I'm in the minority here, thinking that the Straw Hats are going to get a total victory like a lot of people are theorizing here, but I don't know. Oda's just kind of like, psych, well, you know, where it says, are the tides about to turn, and then it just shows the thing of Saturn.
Yeah, well, I think it's I think it just shows how much we don't know the way the story's going to go at this point. Again, compared to Wano, where it's like, okay, just waiting for Luffy to take down Kaido one way or another.
Yep. And if Sentomaru dies, honestly, that'd be a lot more heartbreaking to me than Izo or
well, it depends on if they're actually going to be, if he's actually going to be like confirmed for dead.
Yeah.
Instead of kind of being off screen like those two.
Yeah. You know, but like at least I don't know how Oda is just so much better with this one, but it's just like Sentomaru is like, if him dying would like hit me a lot more than those two, for example. You know, and Egghead's like way smaller in comparison to Wano.
Yeah, but I think Wano just had so much like wrapped into it because of the fact that it was like, what, 12 years in the making?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I think overall though, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I think Admiral stocks up. Maybe government probability higher. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this: the government has a higher chance of winning after this chapter. I'll just say that, very least from what we've been seeing. Lucci stocks, yeah, kind of down, yeah. And then even though Zoro's Yonko level, who killed Kaido and is equal to Luffy, but so there's all that. But I thought it was like a great chapter overall, though. I thought honestly every panel was just hitting pretty hard, and it progressed the story, power scaling, good character moments, etc. Yeah.
Your agenda has been met.
It's been met, and it is soaring, and Jipper is down bad in the mud with, you know, all the other bad theorists in the One Piece community. So yeah.
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 But yeah, I don't have much thoughts aside from that. You pretty much covered them.
Yeah. And look, just one little disclaimer here. I do think Luffy's gonna get in a lot of really hard hits on Kizaru, but I'm still holding the position there's not going to be a clear victor in the fight. That's just my position. So I don't want to make people think that I think that Kizaru is so much stronger than Luffy and all this crap, you know, so it's just, I'm just defending the admirals. That's all I'm doing. So, yeah. Anyways, so please like and subscribe, everyone. And again, leave a comment. Love to hear from you. So we'll probably have a Jujutsu Kaisen review coming out soon. And then we're probably going to finish reviewing the One Piece live action for the last 2 episodes as well. So we'll see you guys soon. Peace.
See ya.